Harry, Raul Jimenez scored his 80th goal in European football, his 48th with Wolves in all competitions. He's our main man.
He's our only man, isn't he, at the moment, in terms of scoring? Great goal, wasn't it? But I listened to Matt Jarvis talking about it, and he was like, he shouldn't have really been there. He needs to be in the box on getting into the crosses. But yeah, great finish. And if we didn't have him, we'd be in deep, deep trouble, wouldn't we?
Bayliss, with the commentary and stuff, and I think it was rightly justified when he scored the goal, is that he just seems to have that instinct, doesn't he? He just knows where the ball's going to go. And he took those couple of steps back to the edge of the box, and what a finish.
Yeah, lovely finish. I think the keeper didn't do particularly well, but good finish. Picked his spot, took his time. He took that sort of millisecond, didn't he, where he's just sort of lined it all up and got the shot away. It was a good goal. Sadly, seems the only place the goals are coming from. We looked really dangerous against you. I think we were the better team for 85 minutes at least of that match. I think it's a real waste of what we did in the end of the day. But
Are you seeing game management almost called into play at the moment?
I don't know. I agree with Bayliss. Like 85% we were the dominant team. We didn't get another goal though. But what frustrated me was the fact we just dropped off. So in terms of game management, that's not good, is it? Inviting the pressure last 5 minutes and giving a team in Newcastle who didn't look threatening much at all, really. I can think of the Wilson one when Kilman blocked it. That's about it. And then we get a free kick, which was a soft foul. And then Rui, who's been so reliable, especially this season as well, sets up his wall a bit wrong, and he probably should have saved it. But I don't want to go too harsh on Rui because he's our best keeper by a mile, and just one of those things, wasn't it? But so disappointing to concede a late equaliser like that.
But I'd say, Dan, it just wasn't a foul, was it? I think you called it on the group pretty much straight away. There was nothing in it.
Really soft. Like, if defenders can't go for the ball, then it's a bit of a nonsense sport, isn't it? I didn't. There was nothing in it for me. But that's not really the argument. It was bad defensively. So if someone gets a free kick in a dangerous position, make them stick it in the top corner and score a worldie, not slide it round a badly placed wall into the bottom corner, doing your keeper at the near post.
Harry, I just want to talk about the centre-backs very quickly. I'm going to throw it back to Bayliss, who is our wing-back correspondent, just just to see what he's got to say. I mean, I think viewers and listeners, you can all probably guess. But I want to start with Max Kilman, because I think he had an absolutely brilliant game again. He just fits into that role perfectly. He's good with the ball at his feet, as we said last week. And he's making that left centre-back slot his own.
Yeah, he's calm on the ball, and I just mentioned the block he did on Wilson, so he can get back and make last-ditch tackles like he did. I really like him. He's one of them where sometimes you kind of forget he's there because he just does everything. He's just simple with everything he does. He don't really make any howlers. Touch wood, he don't next few games, and he's left-footed, so it's a good balance on that left centre-back role, and he's got to keep his place. He's done really well, and fair play to him, because a lot of players get the opportunity he's got and don't grab it with both hands, and he has, and I hope he stays there.
We cross over then live to our wing-back correspondent. Dan, have we got any wing-backs yet?
No, Sam. live here from a small flat in southeast London. We still have no wing-backs. This is the problem with Wolves, unfortunately. I know we're taking the piss a little bit, but I genuinely see it as a massive issue. At the moment, Nuno's system is playing with two wing-backs, and we're currently playing with no wing-backs. Sayes isn't a wing-back. He's been exposed a couple of times. I think Semedo actually had a decent game on the whole, but there were still some frailties that I was picking up on watching the game. And when he goes forward, especially in possession and quick possession, he is just not a player that looks to get round the back, create those chances that the likes of Doherty and Johnny have done. And this is why Wolves are suffering. This is why the likes of Podence and Neto probably aren't scoring. It's because we're not getting around the back. We're not creating chances in the same way. Podence and Neto are having to create their own chances and make their own runs because those wing backs aren't supporting them as they should be. And it's a real issue. Both Sayes and Semedo have been caught flat-footed on numerous occasions. They're not getting forward. They're not creating particularly great chances for us, especially Semedo, who looks very negative when he goes forward. So it's, Podence and Neto go and make the goals for Jimenez, please, and that's the end of it. And that's why the games are boring, Harry. I know you did a YouTube clip on it, but from my perspective, that is why the games are boring.
Harry, do you think Semedo needs a little bit more time to grow into this role? Obviously, I think everyone thinks he should be hitting the ground running and be brilliant because he came from Barcelona and we paid a lot of money for him. But we've got to think Doherty wasn't fit for that role right away because it was a role he'd never played in before. Luckily for him, he was able to hone his skills in that role in the Championship against so-called lesser attackers.
Well, For me, it was the best Semedo's played. I thought he looked good going forward, so I'm going to disagree with Bayliss. I thought he had a really good game. Defensively, yes, he's been caught flat-footed. He didn't do nothing wrong against Newcastle because they didn't really show much of a threat. I agree Sace needs to stop playing left wing back now. He had a few opportunities where he was in the final third ready to cross a ball or something, and he just couldn't do it. He ain't got the ability to whip a good ball in, or he'd come back and just give the ball away. Defensively, I agree. He can get caught out sometimes, but Nuno trusts him, doesn't he? So for me, I agree with about Sace, but I think Semedo will come good, and I thought he looked pretty decent going forward. They were using him a lot. So, yeah, it is an area that's an issue, but we had Out-Nouri and Marcel on the bench, so I don't know what they've got to do to get on, and I'm sure Nuno's got to start looking at starting one of those two instead of Sace, in my opinion.
Yeah, so obviously you can get 400 Matt Doherty's at 75 grand for the price of one Nelson Semedo.
Quick maths.
Which, based on mathematics, if you took the whole human body as a single digit, I think it'd get you 4.5 toes of Nelson Semedo for the price of your Matt Doherty. So
Matt Doherty ain't exactly putting up any trees at Spurs, though, is he?
I saw Matt Doherty defending it seems to be trending every weekend. But yeah, it's a game of two halves. It's a massive cliche, obviously, and the magic number from Opta Joe actually was 58. Since our return to the Premier League, Wolves have failed to score in the first half of 58 games. It's more than any other side in the division. Becoming slightly predictable, isn't it, Dan? Should we just start turning up at half time, just right off the first half?
I know we're all moaning and it is boring football, but it doesn't matter if you get positive results and it looks like you're playing in a positive fashion. I think the issue is that we've played a game plan against Leeds and then against Newcastle and only got one win out of it where it should have been two. If we'd have held on at that 1-0 against Newcastle, we'd have all been pretty happy with the result. And then we'd start looking at how are we going to score more goals and so on and so forth. It's not panic stations. It's just give us something good to watch. So we've got to pay 15 fucking quid Friday night.
Was it it was a slightly better performance though? Because I mean, we sat here for so many weeks in the past after a bad performance, but maybe scraping a result. We just want to see an improved performance. No, I think we saw that, didn't we?
We pissed them. Yeah. Newcastle were awful. Newcastle created nothing. I mean, St. Maximum, who's supposed to be the greatest thing since sliced bread with his shit air, wasn't very special. I don't think he created a hell of a lot. Wilson had a decent chance, as you said, but I didn't think Newcastle were any good. At least Leeds come and try and play football. Newcastle were boring, terrible.
But you don't say that to his face next time you go to the same barber. Harry...
I'd look class with dreadlocks. I'd look absolutely class.
Harry, Marcel came on, looked a little bit more assured, but, we're giving Sace a hard time, but he went off at 0-0. Clean sheet.
Yeah, I'm glad he came on because I want to see him starting, but it was a weird one for me, the actual whole game, because when we saw the team sheet before, like it was two teams with 5 defenders technically, and Newcastle had a few injuries, so it was always going to be tough to break them down. But I agree, we passed the ball around a bit better and all that. But you're on about that and them Opta stats. I think they said we could have played that first half 5 times, and we still wouldn't have had a goal expectancy of 1 goal. So I think that says a lot, doesn't it? But yeah. You can pass it around nicely, or you won't go right to left. But if you're not doing anything in the final third, which I think Neto and Podence are not exactly lethal, are they, in front of the goal? It's just we've got to rely on Raul. It's a bit of a worry, but a bit of a better performance, but I still found it boring. We've spoke about it before, the no crowds. I don't think Newcastle helped stinking out the place with 5 at the back as well. And it's so tough to watch at the moment.
But this is the misnomer, Hammy. That's the misnomer. When you have a wing back that gets around the back and gets your crosses in for you, you're having an extra attacker in the Podence and the Neto in that box zone or just outside the box having the shots. This is the problem we're having. Podence and Neto are having to deliver the balls at the moment. Yeah. They're having to create the chance. Because we haven't got that attacking, skillful threat in Sace and Semedo. When they start offering that, Semedo did whip 1 ball in, I noticed, and played one, and another one, he played a nice little dinky pass through the box. That's 1 in a game. You need to do this 4, 5, 6 times to create your chances to score your goals.
Harry, Nuno is obviously there, paid to make the big decisions and stuff. And I didn't envy him, to be honest, when I was looking at the side. And you look at Podence and Neto, and I thought they were doing all right. I thought they were getting in behind. They were almost half chances, but you could see the intent was there. And I think I'd rather have them on the pitch than not, which meant Traore comes on in the 68th minute. And I'm thinking to myself, well, He's got to come on because the game's got to change, but I wouldn't take either one of them off.
Yeah.
It's a tricky situation. Do you know what I mean? Especially when we're not scoring goals, but we're still thinking, well, I was anyway, sat there going, I don't know which one I'd take off.
Yeah, same.
Take either of them off, but I think you have to bring Traore on. So what do you do? Because you can't take him in those.
Yeah, it's weird because Neto and Podence are playing well, but their style of play, they're just not clinical. We saw some of the shots. Podence had that left-footed shot, didn't he, in the first half? Remember that? They got saved. But that's the weird thing because they are playing well, but there's just something missing. Maybe we blame the midfielders, Dendoncker and Moutinho. Maybe why don't they fly into the box? I saw a stat somewhere. Was it Aaron who told us on WhatsApp that they've been in the box like, is it 6 or 7 times in the last few years?
But that's Moutinho not Wolves' game, is it? It's not Wolves' game.
Yeah, but it needs to be because we've got Coutinho, who's not even on the bench, who we've signed to be the new attacking midfielder, the new flair we need. And we're not playing him. He can't even get in the squad. We need to be a bit more positive from the midfield to try and create more chances.
I almost think we're at a point where you say to Traore, right, go and have a free run of the pitch. And one of the other players has to fill in for you when you go forward.
In what position?
Yes, I don't know.
You tell me. Take off Says. Take off Says, play him at right wing back. If he gets caught
left wing back.
the other end, if he gets caught the other side of the pitch, then someone's got to cover for him. Someone's got to do the legwork. Neto's got to get back.
To be fair, he could probably get back himself. He's so quick, isn't he? So he probably corrects his own mistakes in that respect. Obviously, a pretty Wolves-sided game, I would have said. Was there a man of the match? Was there someone that maybe did stick out for you, Harry, just to look at some positives? Because, I mean, you know, any other time of year, I know coronavirus has sort of thrown it all out the window with no fans in the ground, but usually 9 times out of 10 a point at St James's Park is not a bad point. Yeah,
the one player who impressed me is Podence. Some of the skills he was putting off on that and how quick he is, centre of gravity. He really stood out, didn't he? But like we say, it's just so strange that if he could add a few more goals to his game, what a player, and I hope he can. But yeah, Podence.
I think he will. I think he will. But when are we expecting Johnny back?
It's got to be soon, hopefully.
January, February, I think.
Oh, maybe not
as a rule. But that's only based on, I think, how long it takes to come back from that type of injury. No. Obviously, we won't find out until he's on the team sheet. So, Dan, for you, is there
I think it was actually Podence. I might have put something different in the group actually at the time, but I think it's Podence. I thought he was superb.
Perfect. Okay.